Kia ora, g'day, welcome back. Well, we're here looking at this twat again, Andrew Hastie. So, got sent this article, so let's have a look. I'll do a reaction. Andrew Wastebag, obviously sneakily passed on the covert tape, Aaron Granger tells Perth court. So, Granger Hondros and the phone records on one side. On the other, Andrew Wastie, who couldn't recall very much at all. Interesting, that fella can't recall very much at all, but he can seem to recall a heck of a lot in relation to war crime allegations against Ben Roberts-Smith, right down to seeing RS in his Speedos with a pistol strapped to his hip and thinking to himself, that guy looks $1 million. Lincoln suspect, Wastebag, Wastie. Look at that twat. Liberal Party, Australia, just, if you think that twat, this twat right here, Wankstein Wastie, has got your back and that he's got your best interests at heart in Australia, you are taken for a truck and ride. You are being taken for a truck and ride. This guy is just a pathetic Weasley Blinken stain on the regiment and on the ADF. And I'm just glad he's over there in Australia, not here in New Zealand, because he'd be doing the same sort of rubbish over here if he was here. What's this? Business Week. Andrew Hastie and Greg Poland, whose defamation case over the covert Subiaco hotel tape is before the WA Supreme Court. So interesting, eh? And Channel 9's footing the bill for this twat, Andrew Wastie. Federal Liberal MP, Wastie, has told the Western Australian Supreme Court he was the one who leaked a covert recording of Perth businessman Greg Poland to journalist Nathan Hondros. The leak at the centre of a defamation battle that has now run for more than 7 years. More than 7 years, Channel 9 have been graciously footing the bill for this blinking waste of space and waste of oxygen. Andrew Wankstein Wastie. And you can't tell me that they are not expecting him to be on their side when it comes to the defamation case that was brought against them by Ben Roberts-Smith. Bloody hell. How he was called or subpoenaed as a witness is beyond me. The fact that he witnessed and didn't see anything, again, is just trucking ridiculous. That his testimony would be A, that he'd be subpoenaed, B, that he'd have to testify about seeing nothing and having a sook on the stand about being treated like a scumbag because he felt like his military and operational experience wasn't considered during the selection. Yeah, bloody clown. Hastie admitted he'd listened to the tape for a matter of minutes before sending it to Hondros on WhatsApp. By the time he left the witness box on Thursday, 2 other sworn accounts stood against his own. And his answer to many of the hardest questions was that he couldn't recall. Funny that, eh? Couldn't recall. It'll either be a couldn't recall or it'll be like old Dumbanese, we've changed our position. The recording runs 46 minutes and was made secretly by sand miner Aaron Granger at a 2019 meeting at the Subiaco Hotel. Around the table were Granger, his wife Melissa, Peter, Peel Development Commissioner, Commercial Officer Lisa Taylor, and Poland. Then the Commissioner's Deputy Chair and still Chairman of Property Developer Zlecki, we'll call it Zlecki Group, which owns Dolphin Quay in Mandurah and Sorrento Quay at Hillary's Boat Harbour. Nice places. The tape sparked 2 WA Today articles by Hondros and former Deputy Editor Kate Headley, alleging backdoor political dealings, including a proposal for Granger to take millions of tonnes of soil described as toxic from the Forestfield Airport Link Metronet project in exchange for a lucrative plot of land. Poland says the articles were hit jobs that implied he was corrupt. He's suing Nine, the company that owns WA Today, and the company that is also footing the bill for Wastie's legal costs, along with the 2 journalists, Wastie, 2 of Wastie's staffers, and former WA Liberal leader Zach Kirkup. And he wants the politicians held liable as publishers of the tape. Well, I hope you get your way, Poland, and I hope Wastie bloody suffers the consequences. Well, we know he won't be suffering financially because Channel 9 is covering all his costs. Isn't that nice of them? Wastie heard minutes of the tape, then sent it straight to Nathan. Wastie told the court Granger came to his office in 2019 to discuss Indigenous business opportunities around a sand mining operation in the Mayallup State Forest, then asked for a private conversation. In that conversation, Wastie said Granger claimed Poland had offered him a path to the Mayallup operation in exchange for taking between 2 and 8 million tonnes of soil the state government needed to put somewhere. My concern, is this Wastie talking? My concern was that the state government was going to use the Peel region as a dumping ground for toxic waste, Wastie said. His electorate of Canning takes in large parts of the Peel region. He said he considered the tape a matter of public interest. Far out. You are a treacherous little deviant, aren't you, Wastie? And explained his choice of recipient this way. I trusted Honduras not as a friend, but as a balanced journalist who had knowledge of the Labour Party, being a former staffer. You got answers for everything, mate. You've even got answers for the fact that you didn't witness anything in terms of war crimes, and you still managed to weasel your way in there, you bloody twat. He recalled his pitch to the journalists. I told Nathan what I heard. I said, mate, you know the Labour Party inside out. What is going on here? So he recalls that part, clearly. But let's see what else is in here. Aaron Granger swore the tape came with a promise. Hastie doesn't remember one. Oh, isn't that convenient? I don't remember that, or I can't recall that. Wastie. Granger's sworn account is different. He told the court he recorded the meeting for his own safety because he feared the proposal was a setup and that he only sent the audio to Hastie on the condition it went no further. Wastie. A condition, he says, Hastie agreed to. Wasn't that surprising? Isn't there a common theme there? He'll be voting no against the Freedom of Speech Act or bill or whatever it was, and then next minute changed his mind. I've changed my mind and I'll be voting in support of. This guy, Lincoln, changes his mind, you probably say more often than he changes his undies, the bloody twat. Granger said Hastie had then obviously sneakily sent the recording onto one of his most senior staffers, Claire Bradley. Wastie said he didn't remember making any such promise. Funny that, eh? Oh, I don't remember that. He told the court Granger had already sent the recording to a Melbourne journalist and to his own lawyers and was elevating it to me as his federal MP. Holy heck. The tape was also sent to the corruption watchdog. Hondro swore Wastie had been a protected source since 2016. Wastie denies it. Bloody hell. Look at him, just contradicting all the stuff that has been sent to him. Hondros gave evidence on Wednesday that he'd promised Hastie in 2016 not to reveal his identity if he passed on information. Wastie denied any such arrangement existed, evidence the West Australian described as in stark contrast to the journalists. Wastie put their contact at once a month, rising to once a week at a peak. Phone records showed more than a dozen calls between the two men in the days before and after the first article was published. Wastie, and so more than a dozen calls between the two men in the days before and after the first article was published. So before, surely you would remember Wastie if you were told and if you made a promise that it wouldn't go any further. Right. How people, well, at your own risk, Liberal Party, at your own risk, Australia, if you want to trust this treacherous blinking tool and pathetic human being in Andrew Wastie. Wastie said he couldn't recall the specifics of each call. Of course he couldn't. It's a good cover story, isn't it? Asked about a series of calls with Kirkup around the same time and whether he'd sent him the recording, he said, I don't recall sending it to Mr. Kirkup, but I can't deny that I did. Holy heck. If that doesn't scream, don't trust me, I'm a lying twat, I don't know what does. Under questioning from Poland's barrister, Martin Bennett, Wastie also couldn't say whether it was him or his media advisor, David Birch, who sent the audio file, telling the court, I can't remember accurately what I said on the phone 7.5 years ago. What, but you can remember accurately what was said about alleged war crimes more than 15 years ago? Or was it more than that? Useless, man. Useless. Here we go. Andrew Wastie's answers next to everyone else's. What the court heard, the promise. Aaron Granger swore he sent Hastie the tape on the condition it went no further. that Wastie agreed and that it was then obviously sneakily passed to senior staffer Claire Bradley. Well, Wastie has sneaky meetings at Blink in the Blue Oyster Bar with a whole bunch of different people. So that isn't a surprise. This is what Andrew Wastie said. Says he doesn't remember making any such promise. You can bet that's what's going to happen if he's in as a Liberal leader or anything to continue doing with politics in Australia. That is going to be his answer for everything. He's going to make promises, not deliver on them, and then say, I don't remember making any such promise. Or he'll take a page out of Dumbanese's book in the Labor government and simply say, we changed our position. Or he'll just flat out lie. The source arrangement, Nathan Hondros swore he promised Hastie in 2016 not to reveal his identity if he passed on information. Wastie denied any arrangement with Hondros existed. Sure, mate, sure. Who sent the file? Martin Bennett asked whether it was Wastie or his media advisor David Birch who sent the audio to Hondros. I can't remember, is what Wankstein says, accurately what I said on the phone 7.5 years ago. Isn't that convenient? But you can remember more than 10 years ago of conversations and what was shared and said to you, even though you didn't witness anything in these war crime allegations. The Kirkup copy. Bennett pointed to calls with Zach Kirkup around publication and asked if Wastie sent him the recording. Wastie, I don't recall sending it to Mr. Kirkup, but can't deny that I did. Wow. What a crock of shit if ever I heard it. The motive, Bennett, you thought it would be a political benefit to you, didn't you, Wankstein Wastie? Look at his answer. No. The 9 legal fees 2022. In the Robert Smith trial, Arthur Moses SC put to Wastie that 9 was covering his legal fees in separate defamation proceedings and that he was beholden to the publisher. This is Wankstein Wastie's answer. Absolutely not. Come on, mate. If you get sucked in and you vote for this twat, that's on you, man. Like, if you can't see the signs and if you are not reading and or listening to how this blinking deviant speaks and how he carries and conducts himself like the treacherous traitor that he is, this prick over here, then you only have yourselves to blame. Let's go past there. Wastie denies the leak was political. The timing sat months before an election. Bennett put the motive to him directly. You thought it would be a political benefit to you, didn't you, Wankstein Wastie? Wastie answered, no. Useless. He also denied the leak was retaliation for a poll Poland helped commission to oust former Liberal Premier Colin Barnett. Bennett tried to play a radio interview Wastie gave in March 2019 after the stories ran, which he argued proved the political interest. The judge refused to allow it. Why would the judge refuse to allow it? Judge, who are you? What's your rationale for that? Are you getting bribe money from Channel 9 as well? Because Channel 9 obviously has deep pockets to bribe Blinken whoever they want, it seems. The judge refused to allow it. Why would you refuse to allow it if it's going to prove that there was political interest and basically call out Wankstein Wastie as a liar in response to the earlier question that was put to him, that his push to release that recording was politically driven to help his own cause? The articles landed in early 2019, months before that year's federal election. Isn't that convenient? With Wastie defending Canning against the dominant WA Labor government. Wastie has built his political brand on national security and the discipline of official secrets. What a joke. Wastie has built his political brand on Blinken treachery, deception, lying, and Blinken being a bloody coward. Bloody Wankstein. Wastie built his political brand on national security and the discipline of official secrets. What a crock of shit, standing in Parliament years after the fact, or years after the allegations in Parliament, calling out the regiment. Again, why I say the regiment will be regretting whoever those twats were that decided to give him a hug when he failed his truck and CQB course and couldn't hit the target, and you decided to keep him instead of giving him the ass out of there. Give yourself a bazillion uppercuts and kick each other in the nuts. Stand across from each other, whoever made these decisions, and just go around, kick each other in the nuts as hard as you can and say, I am sorry. I apologise to the regiment and to the ADF for letting this useless bloody waste of oxygen into the regiment and into the ADF itself. On Thursday, the same MP described hearing minutes of a covert recording of private citizens and passing it to a journalist he spoke with up to weekly. Hastie is no stranger to a political fight, really. He's also the man who said he'd rather be taken out in a box than bend the knee to one nation. No, you won't, Wankstein. No, you won't. You won't be. You don't want to be taken out in a box, you bloody gutless coward. There is no way you will bend the knee, mate. You'll blink and get on both knees, blinking hands and knees. You'll be lying flat on the ground if it means that you try to hold on to your seat or do whatever it is that you need to do to survive, mate. And One Nation is already using a state contest inside Canning as a dry run against him. Alana McTiernan and Dave Kelly lined up to deny Greg Poland's influence. The court also heard claims that Poland talked up his access to Labour ministers Rita Safiotti and Alana McTiernan at the Subiaco Hotel meeting, including a suggestion put to witnesses that once a favour was done, the ministers would steamroll projects through. I would say there's probably some truth to that, if not it being completely true. Doing favours, back scratching, rubbing shoulders with people, doing certain things for people in various positions, that's what people do. They, regardless, you don't have to be a blanket minister or member of parliament. That's just the inherent nature of what people do for one another. Somebody does something good for you and you are in a position to do something good back for them. That's what we do. So it shouldn't be happening in places like governments and ministers' positions whereby there should be T's to be crossed, I's to be dotted, processes and accounts and checks and balances to be done to make sure that things line up with what the scope is for whatever that thing is that they're tendering for, as an example. But I would not be surprised if projects are steamrolled through, as it says here. McTiernan, the former regional development minister, denied asking Poland to fix the government's soil problem. There would be just no way that I would have proactively gone out and done that. So she says. She rejected the steamroll description, saying both ministers were known for determination and persistence, and confirmed she'd urged Poland to quit the commission after the stories broke. We're known for determination and persistence. What about truth and integrity? Just simple honesty and integrity and professionalism. Why is it determination and persistence? Is that intentionally left out? Integrity and professionalism and honesty? I said, there's a freight train heading in your direction and it's in your best interest to resign. And he agreed to do so. She said, adding she believed he'd spoken in a way that was really very inappropriate. It was probably, dare I say, really very true too. Former Fisheries Minister Dave Kelly denied Poland engineered the government's failed lobster policy, calling the claim absolutely not true and telling the court the policy had been in the works for up to a year before it was announced in December 2018. I know nothing about that. Nine was covering Hastie's legal bills Ben Roberts-Smith's barrister put to him in court. It isn't the first courtroom where Hastie's relationship with Nine has come up. In March 2022, giving evidence for Nine's defence in Ben Roberts-Smith's defamation trial, Wastebag faced questions from Roberts-Smith's barrister Arthur Moses SC, who put to him that Nine was covering his legal fees in separate defamation proceedings, a case Moses said could leave the MP bankrupt and at risk of losing his seat in Parliament. Do you feel that you have needed to come to court and make statements supportive of the respondents because of the assistance that they're providing you? Moses asked Wankstein Hastie. Absolutely not, Hastie replied. Asked whether he agreed he was beholden to the respondents in this case because they are supporting you in that case, he said, no, I don't. Well, of course he's going to say, no, I don't. The report didn't name which proceedings Nine was funding. Nine stands by the articles. Poland says they were hit jobs. Nine's barrister Matthew Lewis SC told the court the articles were a fair account of a meeting organised by a statutory body. Nothing has shown the substance of the articles to be false. The recording says today exactly what it said then. He said, a journalist does not get a better source than the subject's own recorded voice. Poland told the court the first article left him dumbfounded and that comments from Safiotti's office were like being knifed in the back. Bennett pointed to remarks from that office stating the soil was not toxic, and to donation records he said undercut the framing of his client as a big donor. Poland's son, Jay, gave evidence his father stopped visiting the office after the stories, sold his 7.5 million Peppermint Grove home, and withdrew socially. Okay, so this is talking about Poland, the guy who's raised the defamation case, I guess, against Wankstein, Hastie, and the others. Poland maintains the recording breached surveillance laws and should be destroyed, and Bennett has opposed it being tendered as evidence. Lewis argued excluding it would effectively collapse the case against the political defendants. Justice Matthew Howard is yet to rule on whether the recording comes in. Deputy Premier Rita Safiotti is due in the witness box on Friday. When was this done? When did I get this? 1st of August. Oh, not that long ago. Only about a week ago. Was that on Friday? And that's it. That's it for this article. Well, there you have it, folks. That's my reaction to this article that I was sent. Thank you for sending this through. Stu, we'll just mention the first name. Appreciate you sending this article through. It gives me something else to have a look at, and just, oh man, when I look at this guy, he's just got one of those faces that you just want to punch right in the face, eh? Don't you reckon? Better watch out, eh? Might end up having police come around and visit for saying mean words, for saying threatening things. It's not a threat. It's just, when you look at certain things and you have thoughts and feelings and or emotions, that's just some of those thoughts, feelings, or emotions that come to my mind as I look at it. It doesn't mean anything's going to happen. But face only a mother could love, and a face everybody else wants to punch right in the face. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, stopping by, listening to me have a blinking rant and a blat here with regards to this article about Wank Drew Hastie and his pathetic, treacherous ways. Don't vote for him, Australia. Liberal Party, get rid of him. Angus Taylor, the rest of your cronies and stuff there, you need to get rid of this twit. He is a toxic bloody cancer, and he is going to rot your party away if you decide to keep him in. But that's your choice. That's your decision. If you want to believe his lies and his deceit, don't think for a second that he won't hand on any other recordings about you, Angus Taylor, or anybody else, in the pursuit of wanting to look out for his constituents, or whatever terminology he wants to use, because he's only looking out for himself, this twat. And there's evidence of that and patterns which I don't think people can deny when they look at his history and what he's been doing and how he keeps popping up in the mix and in cahoots, it would appear, with Channel 9. So anyway, that's that. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, whack in your thoughts and what you think in the comments about this dirtbag, or even if you just want to have a blast me for my comments. I don't care. Whack them in. I don't block any comments. Have your say, and you'll see me on the next one.